So I've been thinking a lot lately about the idea of success and what that means for me personally. And then I started to think about, with our kids, wanting them to be successful and what does that mean and what does that look like then? And went from that to thinking about, generally speaking, for most people out there and how society views success. What does that look like? So if my question to you is, if you're trying to be successful and that's the end goal for you, what does that look like? Is it a certain amount of money? Is it a certain job? Is it a certain income or career? Or is it time off? Is it freedom, time freedom, location freedom? What are those types of things that you would deem as success? And do you know how to articulate and do you know how to put into words exactly what that looks like for yourself? And so for me personally, for a big chunk of my life, I'm 52 now, turning 52 this year. I had spent the first, I don't know, from when I was probably 15 years old till, 50, that's 35 years, thinking that success was a certain amount of lifestyle or a certain amount of, I don't know how to say it, except the way other people perceive you. And so there was never a certain specific amount of money that I needed to earn or a specific amount of money that I needed to have in my bank account or invested. It wasn't a specific watch or a specific car or a specific anything, really. It was just this feeling or this idea of the way other people perceived me. And so I guess driving a nice car is cool and is a part of being, in my mind at the time, successful. And owning some nice watches, it was also something that I felt was a sign of being successful, or a nice home, or going on many vacations, or whatever that might be. But what I realized in the last year or so is that a lot of that, or maybe all of that, has to do with our appearance and how others perceive us. So if you have a partner and you have, let's say, 2 kids and a dog, there's 4 of you. 2 people who use one room, and let's say 2 other people use other rooms, adds 3 bedrooms. Let's say you have an extra bedroom for a study or a den or an office. And so you need a certain size home to accommodate everybody. And so if you have anything a lot larger than what you require, what's the purpose of that? What is the reason behind why you feel like you need a bigger home, a nicer home? Same thing goes with a car. What's wrong with a 4-door sedan like a Toyota Camry or a Honda Accord or whatever, in that price range that is practical, reliable, and cost effective? Why does one have the need or feel the need to drive a $100,000, $150,000, $200,000 car? And if we're being completely honest with ourselves, we can tell ourselves that it's because we enjoy nicer things, we like nice cars, we appreciate the craftsmanship of a $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 watch. We can say that a $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 suit fits us nicer. And we could even go as far as saying those things make us feel better and they allow us to perform better, or they allow us to, work at our best because we feel our best. And sure, there's an argument for that. However, if we're being completely honest with ourselves, I think a lot of that has to do with how other people perceive us and how that makes us feel. So if I'm being honest, I've had the opportunity to drive and to possess some very, very nice vehicles. And as much as I appreciated the engineering and the technology of a Porsche 911 and the way it felt when I drove that car and how exhilarating it was on a racetrack or on a back road where there was nobody there, and how that made me feel and how alive I felt when pushing a vehicle like that to its limits, I can also say in the same breath that when I pulled up to a light and I geared down and that exhaust and that motor screamed the way it did and everyone looked to see what it was, I can tell you that that feeling of strangers whom I'd probably never see again and me fantasizing or imagining what they were thinking made me feel a certain way. And so my question is, why do we want those things? And so if you had the nice watch, if you had the nice car, if you had the nice home, if you had the nice boat, but no one saw it except you, and you could only enjoy it by yourself on a secluded island somewhere, would it bring you as much joy? Would you still desire and want those things? Would that name brand anything bring you as much joy? And listen, I'm not talking about being minimalistic and going out and buying 10 pairs of the same jeans and the same 10 black t-shirts and walking around that way and living out of a backpack and living in a one-bedroom apartment and I'm not talking about that. I'm not even talking about pick up all your stuff, move to Costa Rica and live a minimalistic life. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about success, and I'm talking about purpose, and I'm talking about meaning. I think you can still be the CEO of a Fortune 500 company or be an entrepreneur and own a multi-million-dollar company. I think you can do all of those things. I think you can still have all the nice things. I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about the meaning behind those things and the purpose that we have as human beings and wanting to follow those things. And, every day wanting a nicer car or, striving to drive a bigger boat or, and I'm just picking on those things because they're easy. If you own a nice boat, this is not a slam against you. If you have nice cars and nice watches, this is obviously not a judgment or a slam on you. My question is why do you have those things? And my question again is, for me, it's not a question, but for me personally, I found myself being wrapped up in those things and those things becoming a part of my identity. And then I took those things and made excuses for myself as to why I wanted those things. And ultimately, at the end of the day, I've realized now, and it's only taken me, 35, 40 years to figure out, and I'm still figuring it out, is those things do not bring meaning and they do not bring purpose to me personally. And so I've been, I stopped working at my job in the end of September and doing very well financially, making a lot of money, and walking away from an industry and a job where it's very easy for me to find another job to pay me again that kind of money. And so I decided to take the last 3 or 4 months off at 51, turning 52, to find myself and to try to figure out what I want to do when I grow up. And no matter what I've tried and no matter what I've thought about, it keeps coming back to meaning and purpose. And what is my meaning? What is my purpose? And I think as human beings, most of us, the large majority of us, find meaning and purpose when we help other people. I think being mean or being selfish or any of those types of things, I think is not natural for most of us. I think most of us want to be kind. I think most of us want to help. I think most of us want to make a difference. And, being in the car business for me, and the last job I had was, being a general manager of a large car dealership. And so for me, running the car dealership and all aspects of it taught me a lot about business and taught me more about people and human beings. And so as much as there are companies out there, even outside the car business, that really cares about their people and really cares about their customers, ultimately, when profit is the number one goal and the KPIs that you look at on a daily basis are around that, profits, sprinkled in with a little bit of customer service index, or CSI as some call it, or CSX, it's very difficult in that environment to truly put your customers and your staff, your team, your employees first. And so I've realized that after doing that business for almost 25 years, I'm a slow learner, that ultimately it wasn't aligning with who I was as a person. And so I took the opportunity to leave and not get back into the business. And like I said, spent the last 3 or 4 months trying to figure out exactly what it is that I want to do with the rest of my life. And the decision that I've made is I want to help people. I want to journey with people, walk the path with people, and ultimately make a difference. I want to make a difference in people's lives for the better. I want to help people find meaning and purpose. And like I said before, if you're the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, making $10 million a year, I'm talking to you too. And if you have 6 Lamborghinis and you have, a lot of fancy things and own multiple properties and you travel a lot and you've got a private jet, and talking to you too. At the end of the day, I'm not saying to be a minimalist. What I'm saying is, no matter what you do, no matter where you are, you have to have meaning and you have to have purpose. And if that purpose and that meaning is just to make more money, ultimately you're going to fall short, and ultimately you're never going to reach that goal. And you can constantly, move the goalposts and constantly say, okay, now I've made my first million. I need to make, 3 million. I need to make 6 million. I need to make 10, 20, 30, whatever the case is. And ultimately, I don't think that's going to bring you the joy and happiness that you think it will. Now, listen, I've never made 20, 30, 40 million dollars in my life. So, I'm not speaking from experience, but I think what I'm talking about scales, and it doesn't matter how much money you make. Someone who's making $20,000 right now is desiring to make $40,000, and someone who's making $80,000 right now is dreaming of making $150,000. And so I think that scales, and I think it doesn't matter how much money you're making. Eventually, you just want more, and you want more, and you want more. And so what I'm saying is, once you figure out truly what your passions are, and when you figure out what your purpose is on this planet, and you start to work towards that purpose and start to have more meaning in your life, I think that's when some serious magic can happen. And here's the crazy thing. The crazy thing is there's a lot of people out there who are a lot smarter than I am, who are super successful in the way of, success in the sense of where they are in their companies, or what they've been able to build in their businesses, or even how much money they're making, and how successful they are that way. There's a lot of really smart people out there that have a lot of leverage and have a lot of knowledge and can share that wisdom with other people to be able to make a lot of other people's lives better. And so I want to spend the rest of my days helping people find meaning and find purpose. And I want to be able to share my story with you, and to be able to journey with you and walk with you and go with you to figure out exactly what this is all about. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk again soon. Bye.